Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Rheaven and thank you for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about what it's like for us to live with DID and what that means for us. Because DID is very different for each system that has it. So I guess I'm just going to be telling you a little bit of my part. So, where do I even start, honestly? It's like such a vast and in-depth and very meticulous disorder, but it's also very unpredictable and can be a happy thing, but for the most part is more of something that hinders on your emotions and your day-to-day life. Okay, so I guess to start off, I'll explain what DID is, or if you're blah blah blah. If you're clicking on this video and you don't know really that much about DID or something like that, DID is actually Dissociative Identity Disorder. It used to be known as Multiple Personality Disorder, but it was renamed in the DSM-5 like a long time ago, like in the 1990s. And it was changed because it's not a personality disorder, it's actually a dissociative one. And then dissociative identity disorder is actually a disorder that comes from when you're in your childhood, but it actually comes from repeated childhood trauma. So having repeated childhood trauma before the age of like 7 to 9. And then for us in particular, our DID, as far as we know, started when we were about 2 years old. I won't go into detail about what happened and what made this split happen. But let's just say that there was some, I'm just going to say a trigger warning because I might talk about a little bit about abuse, but just click off if you're feeling too, overwhelmed, or just click forward because I don't talk about abuse too much. So there was a lot of things happening within my family. My parents didn't really like each other. There were a lot of fighting going on. Yeah, and then my brother had a lot of issues growing up too. And then I had babysitters, and so I don't want to get into detail actually, but there was just a lot going on, and I guess my 2-year-old mind didn't know how to cope with what was happening in my reality, that it decided I needed to protect myself by fragmenting and taking a piece of my personality, of my consciousness, split off from my consciousness, or from the consciousness that I had at the time that's not fully developed, split off into multiple. In order to save that child from remembering, what's going on around them, they distance themselves from it and tell themselves, I'm not going through this. This isn't happening to me. This could never happen to me. Stuff like that. So the other new personality that's formed actually either holds on to that trauma or stores that trauma. Because depending on what the first alter that forms is, in our case it was a protector, and in our case it was actually 2 protectors that were created at the same time, which are actually Rachel and Mick. They haven't introduced themselves in this channel yet, but they might be. I don't know. I'm not sure if that would happen. I know Rachel tried to make a video and it didn't really work out the way that she thought it would, so she didn't like it and just kind of stopped. But anyway, hopefully they'll make their own videos. But so in our case, we had 2 splits happen. I don't know if they were at the same time. Like, no one can really prove that to us because we were 2 years old, and I don't think my parents really understood. I mean, even now, they both still kind of deny that I'm even diagnosed with this. Oh, and I guess I should kind of say I am, but I'm not technically diagnosed. I am in the sense that my therapist, my psychiatrist, and my caseworkers, and like everyone that I work with, they all know and accept that I have DID. However, we're still going through that process of doing the testing. So it's not final yet, but we all kind of know. I've known for years now. So, yeah. But anyway, so that's a little background. And then, so when we were 2, we had our first 2 split-offs. Then throughout from then till now, we've had quite a bit of split-offs. I've actually wrote out a list of when the split-offs happened and from what I think they happened from. I had a lot of different types of abuse growing up. So like on the whole array of spectrum of abuse, I've kind of dealt with it, and I don't remember any of it. So, I mean, you could say I'm lucky, but at the same time, like, it kind of sucks because part of DID is the dissociation and the amnesia. And I have such amnesia for my past that I don't even remember happy times. Like, I can remember a handful of things in my life, and that's kind of what it's like living with DID, mostly because the brain protects the host, which is me, who is the one that's mainly in front or in the body most of the time, and that's what we call the host, and that's me. So I spend all my time in the body, and so what DID really is supposed to be is it's supposed to protect that host. Remember that split off that I was talking about? So normally the first split off is like a protector. So the protector splits off from the child, and depending on how it goes, for us, we didn't know we were a system until a while. I think we used to communicate back then. I don't really remember. I wasn't really around until age 9. Age 9 is where 2 of the personalities that okay, so this is all over the place. I'm so sorry. I'm a fused or integrated product alter thing. I don't know how to explain it. But I'm the product of 4 alters integrating. So 2 of them were created at 9. So I don't even have access to memories before 9. I can remember things because they pop into my head, and I'm like, oh, I think I went through that when I was a kid. Like, because my brain is still going to tell me memories of things, but they're not my memories because I wasn't there at that time. But anyway, so where was I going to go from there? But that's what I was saying. Part of DID is taking away those memories and building up amnesia walls to protect that child from knowing what was really going on. So, yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing is just the amnesia walls come up. So most of the time, the host doesn't know about their past. They know some traumas happened. Sometimes they know. Sometimes they don't know that. Sometimes they know roughly what happened. Sometimes they don't know anything that happened. Sometimes they know everything that happened. And it's just very different for each system. But for us, some of us remember and some of us don't. Like me, I remember some of it because some of the trauma I did go through, but a lot of it I didn't. So that's one thing with DID is not remembering your past. Another thing could be not even remembering yourself, not even remembering how you were in high school or how you were even today. Sometimes you get so jumbled up if someone's co-conscious or even passively sending you things. Sometimes you can't even tell who you are. Like, I don't even know how to explain that, but sometimes it's like you can't even tell if you're really you or if you're someone else. And that's like a pretty scary feeling if you ask me. Like, for a long time I struggled with identity, and not just like my identity. I mean like my sexuality and my my gender orientation and stuff like that. Excuse me. And that's because I didn't realize that I had alters, and so they would influence me. And so in high school as Leah, I thought I was, well, I mean I was, I was agender and transgender. But a lot of it started because of Dakota being always co-conscious with me. And so it would just be very confusing. So stuff like that can happen. What else happens specifically with us with our DID? Let's think. We have breakdowns that can last days. They can last hours, minutes, days, weeks. I think the longest it's lasted are weeks or like a month. And I'm talking about breakdowns where I can't really move. I can't talk. I can't do much, you know? I sit there and I stare off, or I cry and I shake, and I can't communicate. Like, I genuinely cannot move, talk, anything. So, and those can happen because either flashbacks, so me remembering something that happened in the past, or they can even be triggered by the simplest, littlest things. Like someone doing this can make me remember, oh yeah, my brother used to throw shit around the house and scare me. So hearing this is going to trigger that and be like, you're scared. You haven't processed this trauma, this memory. We need to process it right now. And so I start getting scared. And, it's 5, 6, 10 years ago. Actually, I think it's 10 years ago. 10 years ago, and I'm still freaking out about things like that because of PTSD. And PTSD doesn't matter how long it's been, how much you've worked through it. PTSD is still going to sit there with all of their symptoms and mess with you. And it's not fun. It's really not fun. What else can happen? Amnesia, completely forgetting if like an altar comes out and you come back out and you're just kind of somewhere sitting like where you didn't even know you would be. Like, I don't even know like how to make sense of that. But sometimes I wake up, I come back into the body and I'm sitting in the corner with, my face all wet because I've been crying. And I'm just sitting there like, what the hell just happened? And hours could go by. People even lose days, weeks, months, years. I think the longest I've lost, probably years, because I wasn't created until I was 9. But I think the longest I've ever lost, I want to say about a week or 2. But for the most part, I'm mainly out. But yeah, so what else? So mainly I'm making this video just because I know that there's a lot of, what's the word? Not debate, but there's a lot of talk and a lot of drama in the community right now, in the DID community. Just because a certain video came out about a certain person saying that they had DID, and it's somewhat apparent that they are more looking to imitate it. I don't want to call her a fake because I'm no one to say whether she has it or not. But it seems like she did her research to try to portray it, and anyway, I'm just trying to give my side of the story of having DID and what it's really like. It's not all fun and games. You don't just have family there at all times you want, You have someone there at all times. Like, you can't just walk away. Like, if you're in the house with a family member, you can just walk away from them. How the hell do you walk away from someone who's in your head? Like, you literally can't. So I guess the whole point of this video is just saying, like, DID is not a walk in the park. There's a lot to it. It's not just switching from one altar to another. It's about having PTSD and flashbacks and having this pit in your stomach at all times, honestly. And then not being able to concentrate, not being able to remember things. Essentially not being able to have your own life. Like, you have to share your life. And in my case, I have to share my life with almost 30 people. And, it's kind of baffling, honestly, like how the mind works and how it creates this system in order to save yourself. It's a defense mechanism. It goes beyond a defense mechanism. It's a way to survive. And that's really what DID is. It's an advanced defense mechanism in order to make sure that you stay alive. And that's the biggest thing people should understand about DID, is that it's not just about altars. It's not just about, oh, I can do this and I can do that and give me a second and, they can be out. It's not a show. It's way more serious than that. It's a child that went through something so awful, so wretched, so disgusting that they don't know how to live because it's so god-awful that they literally crush their own minds. I don't know if this is making sense, but I just wanted to come in quickly and tell you guys just my side on what I kind of think about this whole dilemma going on, but not really. But then also let you guys know, like, how it is for us. Like, sometimes it can be fun. It's not all shitty and, sometimes, you know, I'm sad and I'm sitting outside crying, and Dylan will come up to me and ask me, you know, how are you doing? And like, you know, when you don't have that somebody to talk to you, it feels nice to have someone else, like someone who can understand what you're going through, because they've gone through what you went through. So there is that good that comes with it. Like, you do get a family, but like, you're not gonna like everyone in your family at the same time, you know? So yeah, I hope that kind of helps you guys understand a little bit more. I don't know if it was kind of all over the place or confusing or rambly, but let me know if you have any more questions or want me to answer questions about DID. I do a lot of research. Like, I've done a lot of research over the years, especially when I first found out, like, that I might have this kind of thing. Like, I knew I had mental illness, but I didn't know what it was. So I did a lot of research into a lot of psychology, about a lot of books. And yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I don't mind answering. Or if it's a personal question. I like personal questions. I want to do a Q&A, but I don't know if you guys have enough questions for me to do a Q&A. But if you do, that'd be cool. Let me know what you think. Also, I will be doing a live stream soon. I know I promised it at 100, and now I'm at 130, which, thank you again. I love you all, especially you new subscribers, and all you that's been there since like the beginning and like always commenting. And I actually really love the comments. Thank you so much. Like, you guys know who you are that comment, and I like love it. But anyway, getting all over the place. Have a beautiful and amazing day in life, and do not forget to smile, because it is a wonderful life. Okay, bye guys.